Okay, guys, I got interrupted on my last, but I'm gonna have to redo this whole video. Okay, this is a video about 4 or 5 things you really need to protect in an shtf situation, and I'm talking you need to. It's not something you can just well, maybe you need to, because without these items you will die. Okay, you will starve. You will, you have to have these 4 items you have to protect, and the 5th item you need to. Okay, so the first of the 5 items are your hands. Okay, that's 2 of them right there. You need to protect your hands. You got to, because without your hands you can't do anything. Okay, when you're camping, I'm sure you've noticed this, when you're camping you get little cuts, scrapes, burns, splinters. If you've ever dressed an animal, or skinned an animal, very real possibility that you could get a cut. Okay, not to mention any bacteria that's on the hide of that animal, and you've got a cut and scrape or burn that could get into your cut and cause an infection. You need to wear gloves. You need to wear gloves. You need to wear gloves, flat out. Okay, if you have a strong stomach, I want you to look on the internet at frostbite on hands and feet and faces too. But frostbite is huge. You need to have warm gloves. You need to have extreme cold weather gear, right? You may or may not end up needing it, but you need to have it. And you need to have one of those hoods that pull down like a ski mask. You need to protect your nose. You need to protect your cheeks, your chin, your jawline even. You can get this frostbite. How are you going to survive if your whole face falls off because you frostbite? Okay? If you have no fingers, how are you going to grab an axe to chop you some wood to get warm? How are you going to skin an animal to eat? How are you going to till the ground to plant a garden if you have no fingers and toes? Okay? Protect your hands and feet all times. Wool socks, good heavy gloves, and have several pair. Now, I have a cut-resistant glove. It's for filleting fish in my bug-out bag. I did look up, because I had seen it at one other time. A guy came out and did a farm slaughter on a cow that I had, a Hereford, and he had a chainmail glove, okay, because he handled knives all the time. Okay, he only had one on. He held the knife with one hand, he had the chainmail in the other, and then he did his thing. Okay, I looked them up. You can find them all over. Okay, some of them, they even go up farther. You can get sleeves in case you're worried about cutting your arm. Okay, this won't really protect against small splinters, but if you're skinning game, or if you're doing something with your knife, wear the chainmail glove. Wear the cut-resistant glove. You don't never know. Boy, my grammar sucks. You don't ever know when you're going to slip, when you're going to cut yourself, when you're going to poke yourself, when you're going to stab yourself. What if you're batoning something and that thing slips and it goes clean through your hand? What are you going to do? Okay, protect your hands at all costs. Protect your hands. You've got to have them. Okay, and I watch a guy by the name of Joe Robinette. He does a lot of camping, fishing, canoeing, hiking, things like that on YouTube. He's got over 1 million subscribers. Okay, Joe Robinette, R-O-B-I-N-E-T. And I was watching some of his long videos. He's got some that are 2 and 3 hours long, and they're 8 and 10 day excursions up into the Canadian wilderness where they camp and fish and hike and portage and all kinds of stuff. And in every video, it never fails that I've seen, okay, on any of his longer videos, not his shorter ones, but on his longer ones, he gets little cuts all over his hands, and his hands hurt. And he gets little infected cuts because he's not wearing gloves. He even mentioned in one of his videos that I need to wear gloves. Okay, and yes, you need to wear gloves. Have several pair in your bag, not just one pair. Okay, have several pair, because gloves wear out fairly quickly. These are leather. Get these wet and dry a few times. Pretty soon they start getting nasty. Okay, these have a 100. What is it? This has a 100-gram Thinsulate lining just on these leather gloves. This is not ideal for uber cold weather, but this is good for fairly cold weather. Okay, for your campfire, you need to have some sort of a hot mitt or hot pad or a pot holder, something, so that you don't have to, because you reach down and you grab that handle on your frying pan or your cook pot or your bush pot or whatever. The sucker's hot. Okay, you will burn yourself. So have something in order to grab something hot. If you don't have something like this, get a piece of leather at least. a square of leather where you can, fold it in half and grab what you need, but you don't want burns. First of all, they're extremely painful, and I know this for a fact because I had one time splashed. I had a truck backfire. We just rebuilt the motor, and it blew gas and flames in my face. And I got first and severe second degree burns on my face and on my hand and part of my neck. I was this close to being scarred for life, like what you see in the movies. Okay? I was lucky, very lucky. But burns hurt like nobody's business. I'm sure everybody's here at least burned their finger once. Okay? Consider if you were frying up because you got lucky and you got a bear and it had a lot of fat and you were frying up some meat and you went and grabbed the handle and it was hot and you dropped it and it splashed hot grease all over you. Okay? You can't just jump back from that. Okay? It's on you. So you definitely need something to handle something hot. Now the next two things you need to protect are your feet. Okay? Without your feet, you can't move. That means, you protect your feet against blisters, against frostbite, against jungle rot, against athlete's foot, whatever you want to call it, okay? You need to keep your feet clean and dry, right? You can put on dirty socks, but they got to be dry, right? If your feet get wet, you need to, as soon as possible, immediately in cold weather, but as soon as possible, you need to get those socks and boots and shoes off, dry them out really good, and then put on some clean, dry socks. Wool socks are best, okay? If you have nothing but cotton, use the cotton, but wool socks are best. You need to have 3 or 4 pair in your bug out bag or in your inch bag. Or in my case, it's kind of a combination of both because I have levels of importance bags. Anyway, you got to protect your feet. That means keeping your toenails trimmed, your fingernails trimmed, keeping the dirt off your feet, keeping them dry, keeping them from getting blisters, keeping them from, any rubbing and chafing other than blisters from your shoes. Make sure that you've got good quality, well-fitting shoes. That is a purchase that you really can't do a whole lot of skimping on. Doesn't mean you have to go out and buy the most expensive boot or shoe there is. But you need to do your research and you need to find some shoes that are comfortable and durable. And in your inch bag, you need to have an extra pair because how long, really, how long will one pair of shoes last if you're wearing them every day, all day long, and you're having to move? Okay? If you have to go from place to place, or if you're up in the mountains and you've bugged out and you really got to have shoes. So you need to have at least one pair of shoes. Okay? In there, you also need to have a pair of cheap-ass flip-flops. Okay? What if both pair of shoes are wet? You got to dry them out by the fire. Okay? You don't want to be running around barefoot. Okay? You don't want something poking up through the bottom of your foot, you getting an infection and then losing your foot. First of all, who's going to amputate it? You? Okay? Second of all, if you lose your foot, you lose the ability to stay safe, whether it be from human or natural causes or animal issues. You have to be able to move to get away from a dangerous situation. And if you don't have your feet underneath you, you're screwed. Okay? That's just the way it is. Now, I can go on and on about the boot and shoe thing. Most of you guys realize this. I'm just driving home the point about your hands and your feet. Okay? 2 super important items. Now, the last thing I want to talk about concerning your hands and feet are cleanliness. Okay? You need to have a bar of soap with you. You need to have wet wipes with you. Of course, those won't last very long. But they'll get you through. Like if you got a package of wet wipes and you put it in your bug out bag, that'll get you through for a week. Maybe 2. That'll get you away from whatever dangerous situation is happening, which is why you bugged out. Okay, then you can find a water source. Once you find a water source, the bar of soap comes in. All right? Don't bathe right in the water, right? Because you're going to have to drink out of that water, and other people may have to as well. Put the water in a pot, heat it up if you must. It depends on the time of year, I guess. Move quite a distance away into a depression somewhere else. Do your washing there, rinse off there, dry off there. Okay? Don't contaminate your water source. Don't throw trash in it. Don't pee and poop near it. Don't spit near it. Don't brush your teeth and spit it into the water. Don't wash your hair in it. I'll probably have to cut off most of my hair. If shit hits the fan, I'm not going to have that much soap with me, and I'm not going to have to want to deal with it. So I'll probably take a knife and whack it off. Okay? It grows back. So definitely want to cleanliness on your hands and feet. Okay? You must wash your hands all the time, especially if you have a cut or a scrape or a burn. You've got to keep it clean and dry. Okay. And of course, in your emergency bag or your first aid kit, you're going to have things like antibiotic and Band-Aids and things like that. But those are not going to last forever. Okay. Those are only there for a short while. And when you use them up, they're gone if it's a real bad shtf situation. So what you want to do is try not to have to use it in the first place. If you don't have to use it in the first place, you're way better off. Okay. Now, the last thing you need to do is clean your crotch. Okay. Because if you don't have a clean crotch, you're going to get all kinds of chafing and irritation and rashes and things of that nature. You're going to want to have a couple extra bandanas for this stuff because you're not going to want to wash your face with the same cloth that you wash your crotch with. Okay. You're not going to want to wash your hands with the same cloth that you wash your crotch with because then you're going to touch your face. Okay. You need to have a couple of separate bandanas. Yeah, color coordinate them, however you want to do it. Take a magic marker and write on them. It'll eventually wear out, but so will the rag. You need to at least take a damp cloth and wipe down your, nether regions daily. Okay, because if you don't, pretty soon you're going to reek to high heaven, for one. For two, you're going to get chafing because bacteria grows in the V of your crotch, okay, where it sweats. Okay, it grows underneath your breasts, male or female. Okay, there's guys that have moobs as well. Okay, and underneath your arms. You're walking like this and you're all irritated under here. Pretty soon it's going to be red and it's sore and inflamed. And I've seen this happen to people who are really clean too. So you're going to want to take care of that, at least with a damp cloth. If you don't have any soap and water, if you don't have enough water available to put soap on there and rinse it off, because you don't want to put soap on there without rinsing it off, okay? Plain water if nothing else. Now you can also carry a little bit of alcohol in your bag in a bottle, okay? Put some in your hands and you can wipe down there. Now it'll burn a little bit, especially if it's irritated, but you can wipe down areas with alcohol to kill bacteria, okay? You can pour some on your feet. Okay, put them, dribble it on your feet and rub it around if you're worried about bacteria on your feet or if your feet are starting to look a little red and irritated. Okay, that'll help kill any bacteria on your feet. So a little bottle of alcohol. I know people don't like to carry liquid items because liquid weighs so much, but a bottle of alcohol wouldn't be a bad thing, or at very least a bunch of those alcohol wipes. But those things are so small. They're like this big. They're very tiny. They wouldn't do very much, and the space that they would take up, one bottle of alcohol would last 3 times longer than the wipes would. So those are the items that I feel are your most important to protect items. Okay, you're going to want to have your hands, your feet protected at all times. You don't want to run around barefoot. You don't want to, put those little cheap shower shoes in your bag. They weigh a couple of ounces. Okay, you can put them on the bottom because you probably won't use them very much. But in the bag, so you don't have to pull them out every time you want to use them. But you need to have contingency plans for your hands, your feet, and your cleanliness of your body. A good stout big bar of soap, it's a good thing. If you're hauling liquid soap, what you're going to have to worry about is that the bottle busts and gets all over everything. And if you have no water to rinse that soap out, you're kind of screwed. So a bar of soap or 2 bars, okay, or whatever you wish. But you need to have soap. You need to have a couple extra bandanas or washcloths. You need to have lots of hand protection. You need rubber gloves for cleaning game. You're going to need cloth gloves just for general warmth and, small, easy tasks. You're going to want leather gloves for heavy-duty stuff like chopping wood or batoning or anything. If you're handling a knife, you're going to want good leather gloves on. And then they have synthetic gloves. Okay, those are great if it's going to be raining and you're going to be in wet weather. Put the leather gloves up, pull out the synthetic gloves. And the reason being is because they dry out easier and they can take more times getting wet and drying out than leather can. So those mechanics gloves, I think, are really good. There's knuckle protectors on those as well. Anyway, I'm done. I'm going to quit now here in just a second. Oh, first of all, I wanted you to say check out my links below, okay, for EMP Shield and Patreon and whatever you wish, help. I need all help I can get. Hit the thumbs up or thumbs down, but I prefer the thumbs up. Share it with your friends. Hit the bell icon for more content. I'm working on it, and I appreciate each and every one of you, and I want every one of you guys to come back and see me, okay?